TNA Wrestling crossed the line again and took us under siege this past Friday for another interesting and enjoyable pay-per-view show. Need to talk about a few things that was happened before the show. The main one being that Hammerstone was not cleared to compete in his match against Jake Something. Unfortunately, Hammerstone, according to reports, showed up with concussion symptoms and wasn't eligible to be competing on Friday night. So unfortunately, that match with Jake Something was scrapped. And I think we had some additional matches made. Jake Something still competed, but I feel as if there was some additional matches added, maybe last bit of lastminute.com stuff. But nevertheless, it was still very, very good and very, very enjoyable show for sure. On to the countdown to Under Siege victories for Rhino against BSK in that one. Victory for the FBI, Ray Jazz and Zach Clayton. They were with little Guido and they took on the Batterai. And then a victory for digital media champion Laredo Kid against Casey Navarro, who I've seen many a times compete over here in the UK. Casey's a really solid worker. Laredo Kid got the job done in that one. But I'm interested to see with Casey Navarro. He will be over in the UK in a few weeks at Progress Wrestling's Super Strong Style event, which we'll be at. And I'm really looking forward to see it. Casey Navarro again. Very, very good worker is Casey. TNA started with Alexander and Eric Young versus Macklin and Kazarian. Really hot way to start the actual pay-per-view off with four tremendous athletes in that ring. The experience, Alexander, the man that can do pretty much anything or have any match, and it would be great. Macklin recently re-signed, and I still think he's going under the radar a little bit at TNA is Macklin, and I'm really hoping as we push towards Slammiversary and bits and pieces later on in the year, Bound for Glory and stuff like that, that Macklin is getting back to where we know he is, which is normally in the main event for the championship. And he was teaming with Kaz, again, another strong, solid worker. And you put four workers like that into the ring, it really does go well for a TNA because you can't. These are four guys that you just would never have a bad match, and they didn't today. It was a really good tag team match with these four individuals in the ring. They ended up with a power driver to Eric Young to Kaz to get the victory, and it was a really fun opener. They were all on top form as well. Sometimes you do get the odd one that can slip, but everyone was on top form. It was a good back and forth match. And I think in a way, Eric Young pinning Kaz does give him a bit of revenge on the Full Metal Mayhem and could potentially set up another match later on down the line. We will certainly see and wait for that with open arms. Now, the next match I didn't think was added to the card, or certainly wasn't on the card when prior to the show, which was Ash by Elegance versus Havoc, and obviously the personal concierge come with Ash. Havoc was there with Rosemary as part of the Decay. Ash continuing 4-1 going into this match, so she had a bit to prove after losing to Zaya Brookside as well, I think. But again, Ash's character's developing in front of her eyes. I think what she's got now that she didn't have previously is TNA are giving her, and I said this, I think, on the review show, she's there every week. She's on camera every week. The character is developing in front of her eyes every week. Her in-ring stuff is always improving every week. And she is getting better and better and better. And the character for her really suits her. They always sometimes say that a character should be a little bit a part of the person that you actually are. And I think that goes well. And I think maybe this character for Ash by Elegance is exactly what she needed. And it went, it's going really well for Havoc, obviously, off the back of losing the tag team championships recently. The K have been sort of not around too much over the last couple of weeks on Impact Wrestling. So this match was going to be interesting to see what way it would go. It went by the way of Ash by Elegance with a roll-up victory. So maybe not as decisive as we'd like. Obviously, there was a lot of interference as well in this, but Ash just keeps on rolling. Her momentum keeps on rolling. As I said, the character keeps on rolling. So I'm really interested to see with this. And she did choke Havoc with a garlic necklace, which she brought out afterwards, and also does a swanton off the chair, and as she was exiting, Havoc was crawling after her. So she gave her a DDT on the ramp. So you're now seeing a bit of a more of a vicious side of Ash. So again, I like it because it's development. It's giving someone the opportunity to, run with a character every week. And she's doing it, and she's doing it really, really, really well. And I'm really impressed so far with Ash, and I think she's got a lot of potential to this character. And we'll see what happens. In obviously, Impact Wrestling airs this week on AXS TV, the Zone in the UK, and of course the TNA Plus app. Gian Miller was with backstage with Speedball Mountain and Matt Hardy. Speedball says he's feeling a little broken, and Seven says they're at the Hardy house. Hardy says he's with family tonight and gives them a gift. The Trent for Seventh and the Pool of Speed do get the coat of arms, and it's time to delete the system. And Hardy says they will render them obsolete. Well, we'll see. Apologies if I'm feeling a bit bunged up today. I'm not sure if it's a change in weather. We're actually getting some sun over here in the UK for a change, and I'm not sure if I've never suffered with hay fever, but who knows? You can never too late, I suppose, to suffer from hay fever. Now next match again, I think was added due to the Hammerstone situation, but very much needed because it was Joe Hendry against Zachary Wentz. Now, Joe Hendry is fourth in the UK charts, official charts as we speak. He could really be in the top 10 of the UK charts. It could happen, crazily enough. He did say, he did take the mic early on and said he said professional wrestling is all about who did they ever beat. The locker room has the people that beat an Undertaker, The Rock, Kurt Angle, Bushwhacker Luke. He said who's who of the industry, but Hendry thinks he's beaten some big names himself. Beyonce, Miley Cyrus, Post Malone. Quite incredible. He is another one who's now riding that crest of that wave. And I think TNA do need to capitalize while he's hot and why he's got so much going on and there's a buzz about him. You really need to capitalize. And I'm sure that they will, but they really do need to capitalize on this with Joe Hendry. They had a match with Zachary Wentz, as I was saying. Joe Hendry did win with a standing ovation. I think it was a little bit ones where I would say it was just getting interesting when it ended. I enjoyed it. I was invested into it, and I was getting really invested into it as he hit the standing ovation and picked up the victory. So, yeah, I'm hoping that they go again and 5-10 minutes longer next time because the match was really cooking at the point of it ending. And it was a shame a little bit that it only was on sort of 5 or 6 minutes. I could have had another, as I said, it could have gone 15, and it would have been great. But it was still a really, really good match, fun, enjoyable, quick one. Maybe a bit longer next time, please. Now the next match was Spitfire, Danny Luna, Jody Fret against Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich. Alicia Edwards of the System vowed to bring tag team gold back to the system, so everyone in the system could be holding all the gold by the end of this match. And you know what? Even though there was a distraction in there as well, she did exactly what she said she was going to do. She hit the pedigree, did Alicia Edwards, and picked up the 1, 2, 3, and became the Knockouts Tag Team Champions with Masha Slamovich. Again, I go back to the time thing. I would have loved this to have gone 5, 7 more minutes. Again, it was a quick one again, sort of 6.5 minutes on the clock. Really could have done with it going a little bit longer. And it would have just been a bit. I thought it was again a good tag team match, solid, but then it goes good to great, and it was getting to great when they cut it. It was sort of between it and another 5, 6, 7 minutes could have been a difference. And we do say this on the show. Sometimes matches, if you give them another 5, give them another 6, it's a difference between here and here. And that's where I felt this match was. But nevertheless, Alicia Edwards of the System and Masha Slamovich taken the gold. And no matter what happens tonight at Under Siege, the system, or each member of the system, will hold gold. Now, we mentioned earlier on that Jake Saint was set to take on Hammerstone. Hammerstone's concussion kept him out of it. So Jake, something was going to be taken on Rich Swann, who was with AJ Francis during this. This was, again, was a really good match. However, halfway through the match, Cody Deaner was there. AJ Francis got involved. Cody Deaner comes out and says to the ref, "Hey, look, you know, you could DQ him, or you can set up or you could end it in a DQ, sorry, or you can, basically restart the match." And they restarted the match as a tag match, in which case Rich Swann got the win for his team for first class. Really good little action on this. I think sometimes there was too much distraction from the outside, and you can get that a little bit. But the best part of it was Francis and Swann did get some good heat in this match, which, obviously does their character well. Again, AJ Francis, I will say this again. I go back to Ashbar Elegance and I say, every week he's on, every week he's got time, every week the character's developing, and we're seeing more of him. And this is where you didn't really know what this guy or the girl in terms of Ash was made of, because you never saw them enough consistently on TV. Now that you're doing this, and now that we're seeing it of AJ Francis, he's a great worker. He's got great skills on the mic. The crowd hate him. He's doing his job so well. So, and it's kudos to TNA for A, getting them on board, and B, giving them that momentum and giving them that time, because you're really seeing what character work they're doing and how their character's developing in front of your eyes. And it's really exciting to see. One of the matches that I was very much looking forward to was next. Gresham returns, octopus mask in tow, with Kushida. This was a bit, again, it only went 10 minutes or so. And it was literally, we saw some flashes of some good technical wrestling. But this was clearly TNA's way of getting Gresham's new character over, which is really an interesting one. He used this sort of claw spike finisher, which, basically pinned him with it as well, over Kushida. And Kushida was just like he was cast under a spell with this claw in his mouth at the end of it. But we saw some flashes of the old Gresham, the flashes of the technical brilliance. But it's now we're seeing this new side of John Gresham. And again, it's always his thing. We take time, we see it week in, week out, developing. I've used that word quite a lot. Developing of character here with John Gresham. We've seen the skits when he was in therapy. We've seen the new version. We saw the octopus mask. He seems to have a different side when he was talking to Santino. He didn't have the mask on, and the mask comes on. So again, we're seeing development here with John Gresham, his new character. I always say with it, never write it off straight away. I like it. I think it's something interesting. We're seeing a new side of Gresham, which is what I like to see. And there's no doubt he's technically gifted in the ring. So interesting to see more of this as the weeks go on Impact. I'm looking forward to seeing the new Gresham. But after this match, actually, Kushida did gag. He appeared to be choking. He had to have some help backstage. So playing on this new hold that Gresham's got and playing on this new character. So let's see what happens as we carry on through Impact Wrestling next week. Jordan Grace and PCO were taking on Steph DeLanda and Kong. We always would know that these four was having the last month or so been getting into it. Steph DeLanda obviously lost the Knockouts Championship match last time out at Rebellion. Monsters Ball was PCO defeating Kong on that. Four solid workers, I would say, big workers. This was a heck of a lot of entertaining fun. We had bits where Steph DeLanda was trying to flirt with PCO and all of that. It was, the fact that it was intergender as well. So they had the men and the women. I thought they handled that brilliantly. And you see some strength from Jordan Grace near the end. I mean, she hit Con with the Death Valley driver in this. She held the rope open. PCO flew through her legs through the outside to take out Con. And it was, again, she hits the Juggernaut driver, Jordan Grace, to pin Steph DeLanda. Really, really entertaining match. Loved it. The intergender bits were well done. And of course, Jordan Grace with her power and strength. doesn't surprise me of how good it actually is. And she is really, I feel like she's elevated and gone to another level since last year. And she's, I know she kind of left TNA, she come back and she's gone up again and elevated herself. Maybe that bit of the Royal Rumble really did help as well in some aspects, although it was a multi-person match. Sometimes you do get to see from the producers that back there that can help a little bit, but she is really elevated, and TNA are doing the absolute right thing and strapping that rocket to her and letting her go. And do you know what? I don't think anyone's going to stop her. I can't see anybody right now in TNA stopping Jordan Grace with that championship anyway. Speaking of championships, Mustafa Ali, Ace Austin was next, and a match that I couldn't wait for, and it didn't foul to, it was brilliant. They had some great stuff. There was great bits and pieces where they were targeting limb spots, trying to take out the arms of each other. It was really, really good. The only thing I would say was I just think there's too much interference in it again in this one with the Secret Service. Ali's capable and good enough of winning this match on his own. I don't think he needs as much help from the Secret Service. I thought this was really, really good in a lot of ways. The way, as I said, the way they targeted the limbs, the high flying, some great spots. I just felt the Secret Service bit become a little bit tiresome because it was just too much of it. And it kind of, again, when you say the words good to great, it's there again because I just felt too much interference. It was a great match, athletic match. The only interesting thing I would say, there was no Chris Bay at ringside for Ace Austin. And that's something where I've said this the last few weeks. Is there a bit of tension in there between Bullet Club ABC, Ace Austin? Because if you remember, Ace Austin was the one telling Chris Bay, look, we need to focus on the tags. You're going off for X Division championships and you're forgetting a tag team division. And then Ace Austin does the same thing and Chris Bay's nowhere to be seen. So I just wonder if there is an element of some issues within Bullet Club ABC. I'm sure we'll find out a bit more on Impact this week. But it'd be interesting, certainly for sure. One of the things that Impact do is keep you wanting to watch. And I want to see what happens with Bullet Club ABC this week, if anything. It's now time for the main event. It was Broken Matt Hardy. It was Speedball Mountain. It was Trent Seven. It was Against the System. And you know what? This was a really good traditional six-man tag. There was some great heat segments in this. Then it went into a chaotic brawl with tables and big spots left, right, and center. Everyone looked good. Matt Hardy with this. And again, I go back, maybe in AEW's run, you didn't see enough of him because he pulled his weight in this match. He was doing stuff. He was, I think, on a leg drop for a table and all of that. I mean, we go back to Moose. He just looks like a total star in this as well. But it looked, that Matt Hardy was enjoying it. He was having so much fun, which is great. He was pulling his weight. All six guys in this delivered a great, great main event. Trent Seven did do the Jeff Hardy taunt at one point as well. Who knows what happens if that's going to happen in TNA? Would Jeff Hardy come back at one point? Who knows? Alicia Edwards did interrupt the count later on after Seven hit the burning hammer, and then Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards done the back stunner and the elbow drop combo to pick up the 1-2-3 for the System. So the System end the pay-per-view with the win, and all of the gold is with the System. Well, at least every member of the System has some gold as Under Siege went off the air. Really enjoyable show. Like I said, some matches I wish could have gone a bit longer. Some just needed a bit less interference from me personally. Again, it's from good to great. And I think that's where I rate this pay-per-view in the sort of mid-good section. It could have got great had those other little bits have been carried out. But a really enjoyable show. Really looking forward to Impact Wrestling this week to see the fallout, what happens next. I believe in either in the weeks or two, there's going to be a big tag match involving the champions of TNA against an all-star opponents that that's going to be great. I don't know if that's going to be this week or in a few weeks in Impact, but I heard about that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that as well. But this has been the Under Siege review on the Hitting the Turnbuckle channel. Just keep on looking at our social medias at HTT Buckle on Twitter, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, on all other social media platforms. Interviews, review shows dropping all week long. We can't wait to bring them to you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Make sure that you still do that. We are on a crest of a wave here right now, and we're continuing to provide the content that you guys want and deserve. Until then, everybody, this has been the Under Siege review. I have been your host, Adam Cousins. Take care. Goodbye.